young professionals, as well as 2 young professionals that will be presenting today. So we are excited, as always, thrilled to have you all on the call today and on our monthly webinar series, which is specifically designed for young professionals that are passionate about growing their careers, passionate about growing the knowledge when it comes to groundwater resources management within the SADC region. And we are always ready to provide you with information when it comes to groundwater resources in the region. I just wanted to touch a bit on the key objectives for the webinar series. It's mainly 3 key objectives. The first one is the technical skills training. So through these webinars, we really hope to provide you with information when it comes to building your technical skills. The second one is networking. So please use this opportunity to get to know who else is on the call, who are the young professionals in the regions. And when we invite guest speakers, it's an opportunity for you to speak to them. So once you meet them here, follow them on LinkedIn, look for them at events. We have our conference coming up. So it's an opportunity for networking. And lastly, the third objective is career navigation. And I'm very excited to have our guest speaker this evening, Batanaya, speak specifically to this objective. So I'm looking forward to having engaging conversation, engaging discussions in our webinar today. Without wasting time, let me ask Sechaba to present the agenda, and we can go through the agenda points. I know we have 2 young professionals that will be presenting, very, very exciting, and 2 keynote speakers. So Sechaba, kindly share the agenda. Sechaba, are you able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right,
do you have the...
Yeah, I'm showing the agenda now.
Thank you very much. All right, so on our agenda today, the first speaker is Amor Karujas. She will be presenting challenges and solutions in urban groundwater management. The second presenter is no stranger to young professionals, and she will be, and her name is Batanai Gwagwawa. She'll be presenting career acceleration in the water sector, followed by our second keynote speaker, Thokozani Dlamini. And his presentation will be on the 6th SADC Groundwater Conference. Last but not least, Sechaba will present the communication plan for the Young Professionals Program. As per usual, the last item will be the Q&A. Without wasting time, I would like to introduce Amor, a young professional who will be presenting to us her presentation on challenges and solutions in urban groundwater management. Amor, the floor is yours. So how it goes, Sechaba will share the presentation, your presentation, and you will just present while he displays it.
All right, that is in order. Sechaba, can you kindly share my...
Yeah, I'll just share your presentation now.
Okay. There we go.
Right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen. Can I start?
Yes,
Yes.
go ahead, Amor.
Okay, so good evening once again. My name is Amor Carujas. I'm a selected young professional for the SADC Groundwater Management Institute. And today I will be presenting on the challenges and solutions in urban groundwater management within the SADC region. Okay, so next slide. So given how far we've come in these webinars, we now have established an understanding that groundwater is indeed a vital source of water for urban populations across the SADC region. Okay, so it plays a crucial role in ensuring water security, particularly in regions with limited surface water. Okay, so we have also understood that there has been a rising demand for groundwater usage due to urbanization, meaning people moving from rural areas into urban areas, leading to population growth within a particular urban area. And as such, groundwater extraction has increased, okay? So it has been, or research indicates rather that there has been sustainability challenges for groundwater management, okay? So for example, an increase in an influx of people into urban areas had now led to unsustainable extraction, issues such as pollution, and other factors such as climate change, which is quite a pandemic within Namibia, which is where I'm from, where we are experiencing a drought currently. Climate change now threatens groundwater resources. Now, given these sustainability challenges, there has been a need for action in that effective management strategies are required to secure groundwater resources for future generations, okay? Next slide. Okay, so research further indicates that around 70% of the population in many SADC countries rely on groundwater for domestic, industrial, and agricultural use, okay? And as such, it has become critical, or a critical element rather, for water security, okay? So for example, certain cities, or there are urban centers with a high dependency for groundwater, such as Windhoek, Namibia, where I currently am, Lusaka, Zambia, and Harare, Zimbabwe. Okay, it's mostly their primary source of water. Okay, and then as indicated, a rising demand in groundwater leads to sustainability challenges. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so there are key challenges in urban groundwater management. Okay, the first one would then be over-extraction. So as I've indicated before, the growing demand for groundwater due to factors such as urbanization leads to excessive groundwater extraction. So for example, aquifer depletion. So there are some countries or waters are stored in an aquifer. Now water is being extracted more than what it is replaced. And as such, the aquifers are depleting, okay? And weak enforcement of groundwater extraction limits, and the lack of comprehensive regulatory, or limits and the lack, excuse me, weak enforcement of groundwater extraction limits and lack of comprehensive regulatory frameworks contribute to such over-extraction. In other words, there is no regulatory framework in most of these countries that limits and allocates certain quotas to the extraction of groundwater. Okay, the second issue would then be pollution, industrial discharge. Okay, a lot of urban areas are industrialized. As such, waste disposal contaminates groundwater, particularly in cities with inadequate wastewater management facilities. Another issue with pollution is the agricultural runoff. Okay, so in countries that are involved in agriculture, such as Namibia, for example, we use pesticides and fertilizers, and it's used in farming, and they often leach into groundwater reserves, contaminating them with harmful chemicals. Okay, and then there are also some sanitation issues, okay? So poor sanitation infrastructure, including sewage leakage systems, can lead to groundwater contamination with pathogens and harmful substances. For example, a few months ago, Namibia had an issue where the sewage water in the underdeveloped parts of Windhoek, for example, leaked into groundwater, and then the children in that particular area were now diagnosed with cholera, and a lot of them died. Okay, so next slide, please. Climate change, okay? So alerted rainfall patterns and more frequent droughts reduces the amount of water available for natural aquifer discharge. So for example, like I said, for instance, Namibia is currently facing a drought, so we don't have rainwater. Okay, we don't have rainwater, and as such, our groundwater is depleting. So this is now due to the climate change, okay? And there is a lack of accurate data, or rather a limited availability of accurate real-time data on groundwater levels and usage that hampers the effective management of such groundwater. Okay, another issue is that there is also weak monitoring systems. Many urban areas within the SADC region lack adequate systems to monitor groundwater extraction, recharge rate, and contamination levels. Like I've just said, here in Namibia, for example, yes, we have legislation that is implemented. However, the effectiveness thereof makes it, the effectiveness of such implications, or of such legislation due to such lack of monitoring systems now have now led to this depletion in groundwater. Okay. Next slide, please, Chava. So these are the proposed solutions. Okay, so strengthening legal legislation and regulatory frameworks. For instance, we have to, or countries in SADC needs to implement comprehensive laws to regulate groundwater use, ensuring extraction is kept within sustainable limits. This includes defining water rights, setting withdrawal limits, and establishing penalties for over-extraction, which obviously makes sense because we cannot just rapidly extract without having these limits in place, right? Because it would not then be very sustainable for future generations, okay? For example, South Africa has implemented or promulgated and passed the National Water Act 36 of 1988, which regulates water resources, including groundwater. Now, this act mandates that water is a national asset, ensuring sustainable and equitable distribution. Okay, so under this regulatory frameworks, we can also implement permits and licensing to introduce or strengthen groundwater abstraction permits to control extraction. So for example, we have countries like Botswana who introduce groundwater licensing to regulate extraction, especially in areas like Gaborone, which is highly dependent on groundwater during dry seasons. Okay, now when it comes to the improving data and monitoring systems, okay, so we need to, or the countries in SADC rather, we need to invest in technologies like groundwater sensors, geographic information systems, and satellite imagery to track water levels and usage in real time. Okay, so for example, South Africa's Department of Water and Sanitation uses a national groundwater archive to store and analyze data collected from groundwater monitoring stations across the country. Okay, now for another solution when it comes now to improving data and monitoring systems, okay, we have groundwater mapping. Okay, so the countries or the regulating bodies need to conduct regular hydrological mapping to identify the availability, quality, and recharge capacity of urban groundwater systems. So Zambia has launched mapping projects to identify critical groundwater recharge zones across Lusaka to better plan for urban expansion while protecting groundwater resources. Moving on to the pollution control solutions. So obviously, most of these implementations depend on the legislation in respect of that particular area. So it only makes sense to enforce stricter industrial waste management regulations, okay? So countries within SADC need to enforce laws that prevent industrial facilities from discharging untreated waste into the environment, which often contaminates nearby water supplies. So for instance, Zimbabwe, in Zimbabwe, industries are required to treat wastewater before it is discharged into the environment, which obviously makes sense. So another thing would then be, in order to mitigate pollution control, okay? we need to develop improved urban sewage systems, okay? So for instance, upgrading sanitation infrastructure. So we as a country or as the SADC region need to invest in modern sewage treatment plants and expand sanitation services in rapidly growing areas to prevent the contamination of groundwater by untreated sewage. Okay, so for instance, Zambia has invested in expanding its sewage infrastructure to accommodate the growing urban population. This included, inter alia, upgrading wastewater treatment plants to reduce the risk of contamination to the underlying aquifers. Okay, another thing would then be in terms of septic tank management. In areas where centralized sewage systems are not yet available, we need to implement regulations for the safe management of septic tanks and pit latrines to prevent leakage into groundwater. Okay, so we also need to promote sustainable agricultural practices. We need to encourage the use of organic farming techniques and minimize reliance on harmful chemicals such as pesticides and fertilizers that can leach into groundwater. So Tanzania, for instance, has initiated projects promoting organic farming in peri-urban areas around Dar es Salaam to reduce groundwater contamination from agricultural runoff. Okay, Sechaba, can you please move to the next slide? Okay, another thing is now for countries where climate change has impacted the groundwater availability, we need to build or implement climate resistance strategies or climate resilient strategies, okay? Such as building climate resilient groundwater systems. So for an example, water recharge enhancement techniques, artificial discharge, okay? So for instance, artificial discharge involves the deliberate introduction of water into aquifers to augment natural groundwater replenishment. So for instance, water from the surface, sources such as rivers, lakes, reservoirs, or treated wastewater should be directed into the ground using methods like infiltration basins, trenches, or wells to recharge aquifers. Okay, so this would in turn help to maintain the groundwater levels, especially during periods of drought or in areas within limited discharge. So for example, in Windhoek, where I currently am in the capital city of Namibia, we use an artificial recharge technique. Okay, so to store water in underground aquifers during wet periods. So this water is then stored and is then obviously available during dry seasons, helping the city maintain water security. So the benefit of this would then be that artificial recharge increases aquifer storage capacity, creating a buffer against the impacts of climate change, including prolonged droughts and irregular rainfall. So the idea is basically that in wet seasons, we need to store as much water as we possibly can in aquifers, okay? So that when drought comes, we will not be as affected by such harsh climate, okay? So obviously, water on the surface from rivers is filled during the rainy season. For example, like right now, we should be in the rainy season, but it's a bit dry. There's a drought happening, so rain is a bit scarce. So then that aquifer that we have implemented or that we have used is now what we are using to ensure that the effect of the drought that is happening here is not as harsh, okay? So it is very, very important to to incorporate groundwater management into climate adaptation plans, okay? This is important because groundwater can serve as a critical stable water source during such events such as drought. Integrating groundwater management into broader climate adaptation strategies ensure water security and reduces vulnerability in climate-induced stress, which is what I've just said now. So that would then ultimately be the benefit, okay? So in terms of public awareness and community involvement, okay, and this majorly plays a role in pollution prevention campaigns, or rather community engagement in educating them on pollution is a key factor to assist in this groundwater management. Okay, so we need to, it's the SADC region, or in the area where you are within the SADC region, we need to ensure that the populace is educated about the dangers of groundwater pollution and the importance of proper waste disposal, particularly in informal urban settlement areas. So, for example, there's an informal settlement area within Namibia. We call it Havana, okay? So there's a lot of waste mismanagement here. So you'll find that the people that are within that particular area dump their waste within the groundwater, and then the same people plant food within that same water. So there's that lack of education as far as pollution is concerned. Okay, so Sejaba, you can go to the next slide. Okay, I have managed, I have stated some countries in which they've implemented these solutions, but just to say it again. So there has been some success stories within the SADC region, especially when it comes now to groundwater management, okay? So for instance, like I've indicated earlier, within Windhoek, Windhoek's reliance on groundwater was unsustainable due to over-extraction and low recharge rates from rainfall. Because we are in the capital city, a lot of people from rural areas within Namibia flood into the city. And as such, the groundwater, or it has led to an excessive extraction of groundwater. So what we did, as I've stated earlier, we implemented a managed aquifer recharge, we call it MAR, program, which involves artificially recharging groundwater reserves with treated surface water during times of surplus. Okay, so like I've indicated earlier, when it's the rainy season, water is then injected, or surface water from dams or rivers are then injected into aquifers and is stored during times of drought. Okay. That is now, as far as extraction is concerned, that was the solution that we implemented. Now, when it comes to community involvement and improved regulation, we can look at a country such as Zambia, or capital city Lusaka. Okay, so in Lusaka, there was a rapid urbanization. Okay, people move now from rural to urban areas, and Lusaka faced groundwater depletion, contamination from sewage, and pollution from industries. Okay, so what they did was the government and the NGO launched a coordinated effort to improve groundwater management through community engagement and stricter regulations. So local communities, for example, were trained and involved in monitoring groundwater quality and reporting issues such as illegal borehole drilling and pollution. So now in South Africa, so Cape Town faced the imminent risk of running out of water due to a combination of climate change, population growth, and inadequate water supply infrastructure. So what they did was, they also, as part of this drought response, they integrated groundwater into its water supply system, like in aquifers. So the city tapped into the Cape Flats Aquifer and Atlantis Aquifer, developing these groundwater resources to supplement the surface water supply. So those are just a few examples of how these solutions were implemented and was then, or proved successful in groundwater management under these various scenarios. Sechaba, you can skip. So as conclusion, or to conclude, due to the rapid urbanization and population growth, there is an urgency, or not just due to the issues that I've mentioned, such as urbanization, pollution, climate change, etc. There is an urgency of addressing groundwater challenges in rapidly urbanizing SADC cities. So in order for us to achieve groundwater sustainability or effective groundwater management, it is important to collaborate between governments, the private sector, and communities, okay? So the long-term sustainability depends on proactive policies, modern technology, and public participation. So that would then be the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Amor. Thank you very much for your presentation. Of course, it is very, very important to consider governance and regulations for sustainable urban groundwater management. Thank you very much. So if we have questions, we just have to write them down, and we'll have a Q&A at the end of our session today. All right. Without wasting time, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, who is our guest speaker this evening. She is a consultant with SADC-GMI, and her name is Ms. Batanai Gwagwawa, and she is an environmental and social management specialist. And I know for a fact she is no stranger to young professionals, and majority of the young professionals look up to her. They admire her work ethic. They like the work she's doing. And I'm very, very happy to welcome her to our session today. Batanaya, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Getty, for that very kind introduction, or rather humbling introduction.
You're welcome.
I've been trying to maneuver my video and background, but it seems I'm not winning. But I hope by the end of this presentation, you'd have seen my face and also can see this presentation, I hope. Thank you, Amor. She mentioned, Getty, that we'll have to wait for questions, but I guess I can take this opportunity or advantage of being a presenter. Hold on. Apologies. The beauty of working from home after hours is that everyone thinks that you've finished work so they can make all the noise they want. I hope you're not being disturbed. So I was just mentioning that Getty has indicated that we can give you questions or more at the end, but I'll take advantage of being on the podium and just give you my question to think about. I thought that was very insightful. That was really informative as well. But I wanted to know where you as young professionals or young people place yourselves in one, creating the problem and finding the solution. I think you've given a number of recommendations, so I'm just trying to see which one you think as young professionals you can actually tap into and make meaningful change and say, this is what we are. This is what we can contribute to the growth of the water sector in Southern Africa. So you can be thinking about that, and then maybe you can answer. So into my presentation, like Getty said, my name is Batanai Gwagwawa. I'm a Zimbabwean professional, and I'm a consultant with SADC-GMI. I do environmental and social management, as well as gender and social inclusion. So I'm going to present to you about career progression in the water sector. But I want to put a disclaimer and say I'm not the best. I'm not trying to say that my methods work or have worked. I'm also still trying to maneuver. I don't think anyone can ever say at the end of the day they have the answers. So what I'm going to share with you is something that I've seen work with either myself or my peers and the people that I also look up to. Thank you. Next slide, Seychelle. Okay, so my presentation it looks loaded, but it's not going to exceed 20 minutes at most. So I'll start with an introduction and I'll give you a brief background about myself, where I trained and how I progressed to be where I am today. We're going to have an interactive session. I'll see with the time that we have. Initially, when I planned this, I had planned that would have a bit of time. Then we'll have a vision board exercise. Then we'll do building and successful career. This will be a working podcast that I'll show you. Then resources and a Q&A answer. Next slide. So in terms of training, like I said, I'm a Zimbabwean by birth. And so I did my initial training in Zimbabwe, and I trained as a sociologist, attaining a Bachelor of Honors degree in sociology, and then also did my further studies here for a Master's in Development Studies. And so in terms of formal education, that's where I've ended. Hopefully one day I'll go on to PhD. I'm giving this background because my briefing from this from Getty was that a lot of people really wanted to know a bit more about myself. So whilst I was training for my, so maybe let me go back a bit and say, so I was accepted for law school. And I studied for law for the first year of my career, but it was something that I found a year later down the line of studying that it's not something that I want to do. So then I moved on to the social science field, where I am very happy to be. And so whilst I was training for my undergraduate degree, I already had mapped out how I wanted my career to go. And I knew that I wanted to be not in the private sector, not in the public sector, but in the NGO space. So I then searched for special training that I would know that if I take these trainings, they would give me a better advantage or competitive advantage against my peers as soon as we graduate. So whilst I was studying for my undergraduate degree, I also studied for 3 other certificates, one to do with monitoring and evaluation. That's in my first year. Then in my second year, I studied counseling. Then in my last year, I studied strategic management for nonprofit projects. And so these, I think, gave me a good standing against my peers when we went into the job field, because I already had some professional training towards the career I wanted. So it would have been different for somebody. Others were doing like courses to do with HR, human resources development, because that's where the career paths were chosen, but others were not doing anything. So that already differentiates you. So in your case, depending on your base degree, whatever you chose, hoping that this is what you really wanted to do, not what somebody chose for you, then you'd have to come up with a list of courses that you think if you take these courses, then this will give you better understanding of the field that you want to train in, but also put you ahead of others, because it's a very, very competitive world. So that means training alone is not enough. The education, everybody has a degree. Everybody has a master's degree. Everybody has a PhD degree. So that alone does not make you competitive. You need to show better, you need to package yourself better and put yourself ahead of others. So there are many leadership programs that I've taken. Maybe you would know the International Visitors Leadership Program, which is run by the United States Department of State. I've taken the Common Purpose Leadership. I've taken these are local as well, but it's a leadership, women's leadership course. So all that was meant to prepare me, or is meant to prepare me for how I want my career to progress. And those things are not for free. I think you've gone to one of these, you will know that the process to apply, the process to get accepted, and the process to be interviewed alone trains you for the world that we are living in. So you can't just then come and say, I'm a sociologist, you need to hire me. I trained and I've got a distinction in sociology. That's not enough. people need to see what more you can do with yourself and what more have you done with yourself. So you need to add the additional courses, you need to do the fellowships. A lot of these are free, actually. You only need to invest your time in them. And in my experience, what I learned from those leadership programs, fellowships, and additional courses was that these are things that they don't tell us in the main educational curriculum. These are things that people in the workplace have experienced. So they tailor those programs to be able to prepare you to get into the world of work and into launching your career if you haven't launched it. So it's important for you to identify. So the United States Department of State, I'm just giving that as an example, has different thematic areas, and mine had to do with women, food security, and water. So I applied specifically for that one, but you can apply for different ones which speak to your line of career. Next slide. So what does it mean? So I've given you my background so you see where I'm coming from, but it's something that's deliberate on my end. Things just don't happen by accident. Things that I do or things that happen to do, most of the time, I would have put them down and say, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to go. And I then consistently work towards achieving that goal. I know some of you, I'm a sociologist, and I know that I cannot impose my beliefs, spiritual beliefs on people, but I was hoping that there are others here who might ascribe to my spiritual beliefs in terms of Christianity. And so I put that verse there, that to say, even in the world of spirituality, you will find that there is actually a verse that says you need to write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. So you can't throw yourself out there without knowing where you want to go. So if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything. So you need to really write down, where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, career-wise, family-wise, money-wise, investment-wise, everything. Even if it doesn't seem like it's something that you can actually achieve in the next 5 years, trust me, once you put it down, your mind then starts to work towards that, because it has subconsciously recorded that you want to be a president in the next 5 years. And so you start to work with it. Obviously, you're going to have to set realistic goals, but even the ones that you think this will take me 10 years. So you can have a short-term plan, mid-term plan, and long-term plan of your career, your life, and everything that you think is important to you. Once you put it down, you will see that the world starts to attract those things back to you. And then when you see somebody says, do you think you can do this? Yes, because now you've written it down. It's something that you can easily say, yes, I can do it. I think I'll speak more about this in another slide. So let's go to the next slide. So essentially what that slide was trying to say is put down your vision. And so there are many things. So this I learned at one of the fellowship programs that I attended. It was a leadership program. So they were teaching us that you can't exist by accident. You need to exist with a purpose. And you know your purpose when you put it down as a vision. So there are many tools. So when we did this, there were no digital vision boards that are there now, like you have on my screen there. We used to take those manila sheets and we took magazines. That time magazines were very popular. So you'd have Hello magazine, you'd have People magazine, You magazine. And so you'd scroll down the magazine and every picture that attracted you, somehow it meant something about your inner desires. So whatever attracted me in that magazine, I would cut it out and paste it on the manila. So everything that I ended up with there ended up being the stuff that became my visions. So there was things to do with cars. You know, when you're young, you're excited about cars, building a house, having some form of investment and everything. So the idea with a vision board is that once you put it down, it's different from having it on your thoughts. So I was going to ask you to actually download. Maybe you can do, if you go on your App Store or Play Store, whichever gadget you're using, you will see that there's a vision board. So it will guide you. You can Google the pictures that you want to make up your vision board. And what this means is you have now put the vision down. So my phone cover is always my vision board for the year. So I renew it for every year. Excuse me. I renew it every year. If I've achieved something, I take it off the vision board and put something else. So each time I'm on my phone, which I'm always being reminded of the visions that I've set for myself or the goals that I've set for myself. So I want to challenge you to download this app, make your own vision board, make it your phone cover, and you will see. So the idea, remember I told you my background as a sociologist. So in sociology, we also study psychology. And I think you guys know about the law of attraction. Basically, what you think about is what comes to you. So that's what it is. The universe just then connects. So it doesn't take education to progress. It takes you to position yourself. It takes opportunity. Preparedness has to meet opportunity. It's not about luck. Of course, a bit of luck works, but you need to be very deliberate about what you want, and then you can achieve it. So this is my challenge one, that you have your own vision board. However you wish to progress, family-wise, career-wise, socially, psychologically, anything that you can think of, this is what you need to put down. Next slide. So I will not speak to this one. I think I've already said how you create a vision board, but you basically have to have a theme about your vision board. You collect the different images you can collect from the internet, you make a collage and keep the vision very close to you. So you can, like I said, mine is my wallpaper, but you can print it out and put it somewhere on your sidebed, in your books, whatever, however you feel that you can easily access it. The more you remind yourself, the more you work at it. I'm giving you this because I know that you've already done the education bit. The education bit was the basic that you needed to do. It's the standard, it's expected of you. So no one will give you credit for that. This is what you then need to do to differentiate yourself from the rest. Next. So like I said, how to build a successful career, you need to launch the basic qualification that you have, depending on how you want to do. Then you need additional qualifications. There are many platforms. I've added this to the presentation. So maybe Sishaba, you can share these. The last slide has the different platforms where you can get courses for free. Literally, you only need just your data to access the internet, and you can learn every day. You can learn a new skill. It's only your time and your access to the internet. Fellowships and leadership programs I've added. So this is about the time. So they're all round actually, but this is about the time that everybody that applied for this 2024 year is actually now traveling everywhere. So you see people going everywhere. They're going to the United States, they are going to Zimbabwe, they're going to South Africa for this and that. And you're wondering what happened. They were busy applying at this time. So you need to just go and check, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Where best can you take this? And then you apply those. And let me tell you, it's not going to be 5 applications. It's not going to be 10 applications. It's not going to be 20 applications. In my experience, of the 100 applications I send, I get replied 20, and I get interviewed by 3 or 4, and one of those then becomes successful. This is just to let you know that it's not an easy road. You'd be lucky if you, at your 3rd attempt, So there are certain countries, unfortunately, myself being Zimbabwean, it's very competitive because we tend to be very nomadic in our job search. So we go everywhere. So you'll find that wherever I want to go, there's some Zimbabwean there. But certain countries, minority countries, you still have your quotas available. So you find that maybe easier for you to get into fellowships because not many people from your country are applying. So you need to take advantage of that. So also you need to, there are green and blue qualifications. Some call them brown as well. So you'll find that a lot of people now talk about the job market being saturated, that there are no jobs. Yes, there are no jobs, but the jobs that are not there are the brown jobs. The jobs that are not seeking to address climate change issues. I think Amor did present about the plethora of issues that we are facing regarding the environment, climate change, pollution, over extraction, and a whole lot of other things. What that means is those jobs, if you go on and search, you'll find that the green jobs, those are the green jobs, the jobs that are trying to address climate change issues. There are not so many people who are trained on that. So there are many jobs in there. So even if you have your basic qualification, find a course that links you to a green job market. In that market, there are many jobs that you can take. Getty did say I'm a consultant with SADC-GMI. It's because I spread my skills everywhere. My skills are over beyond SADC-GMI. I have other roles that I take within other organizations, and it's allowable in this space because there are not many people taking those roles. So I can be here and be in the next job and in another and still be able to function properly. Grow your experience. Nothing beats experience. I can't tell you this enough. Each year I find that I've learned something. Rather, if I say each year, it would be actually straight. I'd say every day there's something new that I learn, and that's cumulative. So from 1 year to 10 years, experience is the best teacher, they say. So that's where it is. But whilst you're gaining experience, you need to master the subject, create your own niche market. I'm an environmentalist and socialist, but I'm also a gender advisor. So you'll find that right now the buzzword is gender. I could have easily packaged myself and say I'm a sociologist, yes, because I am one. I never trained to do gender. Gender was one of the courses that I did at university. But knowing that this is where the world is going, I then mastered that subject matter. And I keep mastering it by taking more courses and learning more, going to workshops. It's not a waste of time. Something out of there will come out. Know yourself. So I challenge you again to take the MBTI test. There are many tests that you can take about your personality, but I personally like the MBTI test. So if you just put in MBTI, then it will tell you how you can maneuver on the site and take the test. The reason why I want you to do this is it tells you your strengths and weaknesses as an individual. And in psychology, we say your weaknesses will never change. That's who you are. Just as your strengths, they will never change. Even if you don't put any effort, everyone will just say, there's something about this girl. There's something about this boy. She knows this stuff, even if you don't put effort, because that's your strength. And so once you know your strengths, so the MBTI test will give your results and tell you these are your strengths. You're good at leadership, you're not good at. So if it says you're not good at leadership, my advice is don't even then attempt to do any leadership roles because you're going to fail at it. What you need to do is identify your strengths. And when you've identified your strengths, you can then reinforce them. That's how you become a master, because no one can beat you at yourself. This is how you were created. This is what you know best. So once you master it, no one can beat it at you, but you need to know who you are. So stop even focusing on your weaknesses. They're not going to change. That's what psychology says. The law of attraction goes together with positive affirmation. So in your vision board, you can put positive affirmation stories or sayings. The idea is, I think some of you know, if you want to buy a red car, or if you know somebody who's bought a red car, you then suddenly start to see every red car around you. That's what the law of attraction says. Your thoughts are following you. That's what it says. So if you think you want to be a president, then yeah, you can think about it. One day it will come. The universe connives to bring to you what you want. It knows the way you are thinking. And so because we live in a spiritual world, those things are drawn to you because you've expressed them. So you need to think about the things that you want to attract. I always see them jokes like, oh, okay, I need to think about $5 million. So let me think about it and then I'll see it. Of course, it doesn't work like that. You'd have to find ways to get to it. But what we are saying is the universe will connive to make you achieve your goals. Then you need to identify a mentor. You can't maneuver this space. And when I say mentor, I'm not saying just one person. You can have 3 depending on your goals. And those mentors are there for a certain point. So it can be actually reverse mentoring. So you can be mentored and be mentoring the other ones. How I mean by that is you as young people, you are generally tech savvy because you've been born into this world of digital technology. So you can actually find an older person like myself and say, I can teach you 1 or 2 about this. And you can teach me 1 or 2, whatever you think I can teach you. Then you need to volunteer. So if you're not in a job, find the organizations that you want to work with or that are in the space that you want to work with. Volunteer there. They will notice you're also building your hours and your experience. So when you get to a point where you need to prove yourself, you have something to say about yourself. You're not just saying there's no job or I haven't been working enough. So above all, people like to see people that deliver. So I want us to watch this video. Sechaba, can you show this video?
I think the volume.
There's no volume.
Can you add volume, Sechaba? I think it's on the computer, probably.
You can also check if he shared the screen by clicking on the sound.
Yet can you hear anything?
Sorry, Albert.
No.
No, we can't hear anything.
Yeah, so.
But look at the video, just where you were, there is, it's muted. Just maneuver just below the video.
Yeah, if you stop sharing, just when you're clicking on share screen, there's an option on your far left, share sound, optimize for video. You can click those 2 icons, then you click share. It should sort out the problem, I think.
Just learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is, I've seen at every level.
Audible?
Is the sound coming now?
Yes, it is coming.
Yes.
It is coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is, I've seen at every level people who are very good at describing. Just learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is, I've seen at every level, just learn how to get stuff done. And what I mean by that is, I've seen at every level people who are very good at describing problems, people who are very sophisticated in explaining why something went wrong or why something can't get fixed. But what I'm always looking for is, no matter how small the problem or how big it is, somebody who says, let me take care of that. If you project an attitude of whatever it is that's needed, I can handle it and I can do it, whoever's running that organization will notice, I promise. And which is why I think with young people, you don't always need to be so impatient asking for the plum assignment. A lot of times the best way to get attention is whatever is assigned to you, you are just nailing. You're killing it, because people will notice, oh, that's somebody who can get something done.
Right, that was short, but I thought you'd want to hear that. So a lot of what Barack Obama says resonates with me. I find it very practical. I find it very useful. And even in my career, you'll find that right now there are many researchers rather, where they are saying that the younger generation is getting fired from their jobs a lot more than the older generation. And one of the things I think that is happening is we come from very different generations. We do different things, the same things differently. And because we do them differently, some people may see ourselves as projecting an I can't do attitude. I cannot do this. And yet, what anybody is asking who you are reporting to is that just get it done. If it's a presentation that you've been asked to do, just get it done. If it's letter you've been asked to write, just write it and submit it and get it over and done with. There's so much satisfaction on your end, but also they will notice, like that video said. Next slide.
Just learn how.
So there are many resources that you can tap into. Digital AI, I don't think I need to really expagorate on that. But I've attended a digital course at some point in my life that the investment I needed to attend that course was $20. I was young then, and $20 was a lot of money, but I could see that I really needed to be trained on a lot of things. And one of the things that I was trained there to do was to use Canva for designing of posters, anything really. Canva can do anything. And I see now that that investment of $20 really meant to me at the time, but the skills that I got at that point cannot be equated to the $20 that I parted with. You can use Fiverr. So Fiverr is a community of professionals or experts. So depending on what you want, you can put yourself there as an expert, or you can find a service there. You can find for as little as $5, somebody can design for you a poster, somebody can do a proposal for you, anything. You can get it on Fiverr. LinkedIn is my go-to. I spend almost all my time on LinkedIn. So if you have ambitions of growing in the professional space, then you need to pay attention to LinkedIn, because that's where all professionals converge on. And you need to, when you go on your LinkedIn, if you have your page, then you need to make sure it's up to date. It's got all the 5 stars up to date, because believe you me, that's where people are now recruiting. They just go direct and say, hey, Watanabe, I've seen the work that you're doing. Would you be interested in this? Because they don't have time to do the recruitment. They don't have the time to deal with 100 applications when they can see that this person is doing it. So it's not just enough anyway to just open your LinkedIn page and leave it there. You need to constantly talk about your work, what you do there, and people will notice you there. I know that we've even noticed some people, even at SADC-GMI, on those platforms. So make use of them. Then Allison is one of the digital platforms that you can use to get those courses that I did mention about. And then the last slide, if you can go to the last slide. It's the resources. So these ones will be shared with you. I had a good time talking to you. Thank you very much. Back to you, Getty.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Batanae. I'm actually just putting away my notes because even if I'm with Batanai almost every other day, I'm really, really impressed with your presentation, and I was taking notes because I'm just like, these are the key nuggets we need. Because most of the time, I really, really like the phrase you said. I'm going to paraphrase, but you said, your degree is not enough. Your degree is not enough. It's the extra skill set you add on top of that degree that makes you stand out. So that was really, really my key takeaway today. Thank you very much, Batanai, for such an inspiring presentation. I'm so inspired to do more, to dream bigger, and just to make myself stand out. And I hope it has been as inspiring to fellow young professionals as it was for me. Next presenter is known by majority. If you have ever attended the SADC-GMI conference, then you know TK. So he will present to us the upcoming conference. I know we had a lot of questions from our last webinar. So we'll give him the floor to just tell us a bit about the upcoming conference, which is in like less than 4 weeks. TK, over to you.
Thank you, Getty. I think I'm in the same boat as Batanai. I'm trying to switch on my video and it's playing tricks on me. But yeah, we'll go ahead and see what happens.
No, we can see you. We can really see you. So just put on your
can
best.
you?
Yes.
Oh, is that okay? It's the I can't see myself because of the screen and the people's names on the top. Yeah, people, as I've been introduced, my name is Thokozani Dlamini. I'm actually working as a communications and knowledge management specialist for SADC-GMI. I'm based in Pretoria. So basically, I'm going to touch base on the conference that we are organizing, which is the 6th SADC Groundwater Conference, under the theme Promoting Peace Across Borders Through Conjunctive Water Management in the SADC region. So as the title says, the 6th. So we've been organizing these conferences since 2018. They normally take place in different countries. The first one was in South Africa a couple of times. And then during COVID, we continued to have them virtually. The previous one was in Namibia, hence this one now is taking place in Lesotho. So basically, the 6th SADC Groundwater Conference, it's a conference that brings together professionals from across the Southern African development community to discuss critical water management challenges that are facing the region and actually beyond the region. So that is one of the reasons why the conference is being convened to provide the platform for groundwater professionals to actually come and meet and discuss the challenges that are affecting the region and even going beyond the region. You can go to the next slide. So like any other event that is being convened, so this conference as well has a vision. So what is the vision of this conference? By the vision, I'm not referring on the vision of this particular conference, but I mean, I'm referring to the vision of the entire conference from the inception in 2018. So basically to promote sustainable groundwater management practices that ensure long-term availability of this vital resource in the region. We know that we are facing a lot of challenges when it comes to water issues, not only groundwater, but water issues. So this platform is meant to actually promote the sustainable management of the resource. Regional cooperation, just to ensure that we are bringing expert professionals together so that we can cooperate as the region. So this conference provides that platform that people from different countries in the region, they converge in one place or they convene in one place so that they can be able to discuss issues that actually affect them when it comes to groundwater issues. Resilient communities, through this conference, we are able to create resilient communities by contributing to building water-secure communities that are resilient to climate change and other challenges. Next slide. So what are the objectives of the conference? For this conference, there are 3 objectives that I've put here, but then there could be more objectives. But one of them is to share knowledge, to build capacity, and to actually contribute to policy dialogue. As I said, that when it comes to this conference, like, I mean, we bring together different stakeholders, I mean, from different sectors, your government, your civil society, your private sector, that include policymakers. So through this conference, we are able to actually influence policy or influence policy dialogues that are taking place in the region and even beyond the region. I think sometimes some of the issues that we discuss in this conference, they don't only affect the region, but then they actually expand to the continent as a whole. We can go to the next slide. Specifically, this conference that we're having this time around, it is taking place from the 13th to the 15th of November. And the location is Avani Lesotho Hotel in Maseru. So, and it's going to be physical. I know that sometimes we have done it before, organizing hybrid events, but for this one, we decided to make it purely physical. So if you are interested in taking part in this conference, just make sure that you mark this date. And I'm sure if you are following us on social media or you've been to our website, you have seen some communications. There have been a lot of communications around the conference, like, I mean, encouraging people to register and actually informing people about the conference. So if you are really serious about attending the conference, please mark this date and just know that it is Avani Lesotho Hotel in Maseru. You can go to the next slide. The registration for the conference has been going on. It started as early as April, if not May, with the early bird registration, where the registration was 3.5. And now we are sitting at late registration at 4.5. However, for the young professionals, it is important that the young professional is somebody that is below the age of 35. For you guys, the registration is free. You can be able to attend the conference free of charge. You don't pay. However, when it comes to accommodation and transport, we request that you make your own arrangement. We wish we could support, like we could sponsor you or fund you with everything from registration to transport and accommodation. But unfortunately, we are not in a position to do that financially, but we are able to fund your registration. But when it comes to your accommodation and transport, if you have registered, or if you have registered or you have any interest of attending the conference, please ensure that you make your own arrangement, or your organization, if you're already working for a particular organization, if maybe they can fund you or sponsor you, we will really appreciate that. However, I think for young professionals that submitted abstracts and their abstract were accepted, I think there has been a criteria that has been used to actually select a few young professionals that will be sponsored by SADC-GMI. But I think getting as the coordinator of the young professionals, I think they will be engaging with you regarding that, as to who has received the sponsorship from the SADC-GMI over and above the registration, who has received the sponsorship for transport and accommodation. But as I indicated earlier, that okay, we cannot fund everybody, but people that submitted abstract and the abstract were accepted, I think those are the people then, okay, who will be funded by the SADC-GMI. But I think even that as well, I think there is another criteria that is being used, but I think the committee that is handling that, they have more information as to what other criteria that they are used to actually select or make the decision as who is fully funded by the SADC-GMI. You can go to the next slide, Chaba. So one may ask, why is it important that as a young professional, you attend this conference or you get involved in these events? It is very important. One, it's for networking. Our conference get to be attended by different participants from the different parts of the region and even beyond the region in the African continent and from other continents as well. So if you attend this conference, you'll get an opportunity to expand your network with experts within the groundwater profession, expert with professionals within the groundwater profession. So you'll be able to network. It's very important that, okay, you attend so that you can be able, I think it's part of building your career as well. Batana has been talking about building your career. And I think networking is part of that endeavor or is part of that initiative of building your career. It is also important because you get to be involved in knowledge sharing. You'll be sitting and listening to sessions or presentations that are being presented by experts within the field. Sharing their experiences. So that will give you that opportunity as well to gain knowledge that you didn't have before. As I said that, okay, policy influencing, with this conference, we are able to influence policies or influence policy dialogue. So as a young person, I think it is very important that you engage in these dialogues as young as you are, so that as you grow and you develop in your profession, you'll understand the dynamics of how the field or how the sector works. The next slide, please. So yeah, I think this one is more like a repetition of the previous slide. The benefits for attendees: professional development. As you network, you develop yourself as a profession. You expand your network. Policy impact. Those are the benefits that you gain, and there could be more. But I just picked the basics that I thought maybe would be more critical for this for this discussion. You can attend the conference as an attendee, or you can attend the conference as a presenter if you have submitted an abstract that has been accepted. So that means you will be presenting. The next slide. So the call for action, let's say, for instance, you have not registered. So I will advise you that, okay, if you are interested to participate in the conference, registration is still open. The only thing that is closed is the submission of the abstract. You cannot submit an abstract right now. That opportunity, I think it closed about 2 months ago. But if you are interested in registering and becoming part of the conference, you can go to our website or to our social media platforms and register for the conference. As I indicated earlier, that, okay, as a young professional, it is free to register. But if you have other funding to actually fund your travel and accommodation, then you are still more than welcome to come. So actually, we are looking forward to seeing you guys there. As young professionals, we don't want to end up seeing you here in these platforms. It will be very great to have you supporting other initiatives that we are doing at SADC-GMI. And we believe so much in this young professional program, because we believe that as people, we come in generations and we come in phases. So if some of us phase out, there must be people that are coming in to take the baton. So it is very important that you become part of this program, the Young Professionals Programs for SADC-GMI. And also it is very important that you support some of other initiatives that we are doing as an organization. For example, the conference that we are organizing. So we are hoping to see you there, guys. Please go and register. I've seen that on our registration database. when I look at the most people that have registered. I think 80%, if not 90%, is young professionals. So now the question is, yes, they have registered, but are they going to attend? Please, when we send you a reminder to confirm your participation, please confirm if you'll be attending or you are, because sometimes you get people who actually register for an event because they have an interest, but then there will be other issues that prevent you from attending. So we will be sending some reminders to confirm your participation in the coming weeks. If you will definitely be attending the conference, please confirm. If for some reasons, maybe, yes, you had an interest, but there have been change of events or change of things, let us know, because that actually helps us with our logistics. In terms of booking the venue, we need to book the venue for a specific number of people. If we know who is definitely coming, that help us, rather than booking things like venues and other equipment for 200 people, but then at the end of the day, we only get 80 people. So please work with us. If you have registered and you are attending, please confirm your attendance if we send out communications and asking you to attend. And if you are no longer coming, please let us know so that we'll know that, okay, yes, you registered, but for some reasons, things have changed, you won't be able to participate. I think I'll end here for now. And maybe if there are questions, as there will be an opportunity for Q&As, if there are questions that are being directed to me, definitely I will address that if I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, TK. Thank you very much, and beautiful presentation. You can see it's a communication specialist, and we are looking forward to seeing the young professionals at the conference. Our final presentation is by Sechaba. The floor is yours, Sechaba. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sechaba Makibi, and I'm the YP liaison intern. And today I'm going to be speaking about how we communicate information with young professionals.
Sorry to disturb you, Sechaba, but you didn't switch on your video.
Oh, okay. Let me just...
Thank you. We can see.
All right. Yeah, so we've come up with a communication plan. The reason we came up with this communication plan is to ensure that the right information is communicated to YPs at the right time. This also helps us to avoid misunderstandings and keeps messaging consistent and on point. It also helps to effectively engage and inform YPs on important information and upcoming events. As you know, we host webinars monthly, and we want to have young professionals to present, at least 2 young professionals to present in each webinar. So how you can submit a proposal for presentation, you can email, you can send, so first an email will be sent out to YPs to notify them that we are accepting presentation proposals, and we'll accompany that with the topic of the webinar and the submission deadline. After that, you can send a direct message on the YP forum or an email with the following details. So you specify the topic that you want to present, the name, your name and surname, and the country of your residence, and an organization if you are part of an organization. Okay, so here are the contact details. You can send your presentation proposals to. You can send it to yp@SADC-GMI.org. And here's our phone number if you want to contact us directly. And on the community of practice, you can invite me and look for me there and send me a direct message. Okay, once you send your email for your presentation proposal, we will then be notified. So you'll be notified via email if you've been selected for presenting 2 weeks before the webinar date. And your webinar should be 10 to 15 minutes long. Okay, so we also have a community of practice platform. I'm sure you've been there. And I just want to discuss why that platform is important. So it's important because for knowledge sharing and innovation. So the platform provides an opportunity for collective learning. The YP Forum provides a platform for individuals to share best practices, lessons learned, and new ideas. This fosters continuous learning. It's also a place where there can be innovation. So by collaborating and exchanging ideas, members can develop innovative solutions to common challenges and stay updated to the latest trends in their field. And also new knowledge, new technology, innovations, and new opportunities in the ground, water and surface water management space can be shared there. It's also a place for professional development, skills enhancement. So if you participate, the community of practice, it helps members enhance their skills through exposure to new tools, techniques, strategies used by others in the field. It can also be a place for mentorship. So we're also going to be having a mentorship program beginning in February, which will communicate more about that at a later stage. It's also a place for building relationships and networks. So yeah, professional connections, the YP Forum will help facilitate building of networks and relationships with peers, experts, and industry leaders, which can lead to collaboration opportunities. And then it's also a place where it could be a place for long-term sustainability of knowledge. So the idea is to have the community of practice exist sustainably into the future. It could be a place where knowledge is retained. So by sharing information on the platform, we can create a shared repository of information. The YP Forum will help in preserving knowledge within the groundwater field, ensuring the valuable insights are not lost over time. And then lastly, so we also have our quiz series. So some of you have participated in that. So quizzes will be shared after each webinar. The quiz will be based on the topics discussed on the webinar. And the presentations will also be shared with the YPs so that you can have the information and you can also answer the quizzes with that. So how we pick our winner for the quizzes. So we choose the person that gets the right answers the fastest. So we already have our winner for the first quiz. And yeah, we announced the winners on the webinars, and we have our YP Hall of Fame. So our YP Hall of Fame is for our quiz winners. They will go on that, and yeah, you'll get added as each webinar goes. That being said, so I would like to announce our winner for our first quiz, the YP Welcome Meeting Quiz. We have our first winner, and I would like to share a short clip with you guys.
Do we need a drum roll?
Yes, we need a drum roll.
You need a drum roll.
Or a horn, or a horn.
Yeah, okay, so let me just share the short clip to congratulate them on their achievement.
Yeah, we definitely needed some drums.
Some drums, yeah, okay. All right, it's ready. There's no sound.
No, it.
Yeah.
There was sound.
There was a sound. It played
Okay.
very well.
Congratulations. That was
Oh.
too short though.
Congratulations.
So yeah,
to our
congratulations to our winner, Aluvuyo Vikla. She got 20 out of 20 for the first quiz, and she was the first one to do so. So congratulations to her.
Is she here? Is she in this webinar?
I'm wondering if she's here.
Probably she's not. She would have responded if she was here.
Yeah, no, she's not in this specific webinar today, but yes, congratulations. So be on the lookout for the next quiz. Maybe you will be the next one on our Wall of Fame. Thank you, Sechaba.
Thank you.
That was our final presenter for tonight. And I know we have gone definitely into the time, into really like 30 minutes. But I do want to have, even if it's just 2 or 3 questions from YPs that are still on the call. So you can just raise your hand and we can have a few questions, maybe 1 or 2. Just remember to your question and who it's directed to. So we had 4 presenters today. Albane, thank you. Just unmute yourself. Thank you very much for the tech assistance. And this is what Bat and I were speaking about.